I want to thank you. When I first started watching your walk, I didn't really know what it was about, but I was curious. And then I saw every day more and more. And then I started listening to Today is going to be my peaceful day. I was confused because I was crying, but it's because I was suffering. And I didn't realize that I was suffering so much. I thought I was okay, but I wasn't. And these are not tears of sadness. This is tears of gratitude and joy. But I'm incredibly grateful for the path that I am on now, because I don't pick up my lover in the morning and look at it. I don't. And sometimes I feel guilty because I only want to look at the walk for peace. So I save it for the afternoon. And I didn't know how much I can enjoy my lunch with setting the phone down and just setting the timer instead. And to feel the wind, or to hear the birds. I didn't know. And each day, I write on my hands. Don't multitask. Be mindful. Breathe. Slow down, because I'm ADHD and my mind is always going. So it's too fast. But in each day, I'm changing. And at first, I was feeling like I'm not doing it right. But it's practice. It doesn't happen in a month. It takes time. And I'm incredibly grateful that I'm at the right place at the right time for this journey. And I want to thank each and every one of you. You know, I think about when my body hurts. You never showed any sadness, any pain. And it made me know that I have that strength in me somewhere. It's there. I just have to practice and learn. Like today, Kelly came up to me and told me all about retreat. And I was thinking, I don't have the money for that. It's not money. And that's another thing. Like, I'll catch myself thinking, I'm going to need a car in 2 years. I'm not there. And I'll only say one other thing and then I'll let someone else talk. I have been suffering for 6 years. My brother and my sister both took their lives. And it was so hard. But now, I'm not letting my mind go back to 5 weeks, 19 years. I'm only practicing to keep it right here. And I fail during the day, but that's okay because I can say, let's start over. Today is going to be my peaceful day. When someone upsets me, I have a choice how to react. And I'm not the same person I was before I started following all of you. And I want to tell you so much. I will follow you forever wherever you go. And I love all of you. Thank you for teaching me and continuing to teach me. Thank you.
It is very hard for us to let go of something that we've been living with for a long time. It's very difficult. But once we know the technique, once we know the trick, let's just say that is a trick. Just pay attention to our breathing. And today is going to be my peaceful day. If we can just live like that, and everything will change. For some of you might not know about the lovers that she mentions. You know what the lover is?
Cell phone.
The cell phone, right? The letting go of that cell phone is one of the victory already, right? Because it's very difficult. We live in this society and live in this world nowadays. We attach to it too much, a lot. But we be able to let it go for some time during the day, during the night, in the morning, that is a victory. So keep on practice, and you will see that you have all the strength in the world. Anything could happen. It's just that if you believe in yourself, if you put a very strong determination and be patient with it, you will go there, you will get there. Okay, so don't give up and continue fighting with that wild animal inside of our head, inside of us. Keep fighting and we will get to the destination soon. And thank you so much for all those words, and I wish you well, happy and peaceful. And then now that you have all the lovely people around you, the centers everywhere that you can come and practice. If you come here, you don't see anybody, it's fine, it's your home. Just find a peaceful place, area, and sit and breathe in and breathe out. That's it, that's all we need. Okay?
Thank you.
One day I want to know what you have made you decide to become a monk, and two, why did you decide to go to Myanmar to study your meditation, and three, what benefits you received from going to Burma and getting your guidance of meditation.
For me to become a monk, I have never thought about it. I came here and then went to school, and then after graduating, I went to work for about 3 years. And then after working for a while, I see that this is not real. Everything surrounding me are not real. Friendship are not real. Because everything's come to my life, it's just like always a condition behind it. When you hang out with your friend, you're always all in for them. But then when something related to benefits, then they will want to step on you to climb higher. And I ask myself, is this real? Is this something that I want to walk on? And plus, that is not it. My family is my brother and sister and nephew and niece always have this and that, right? This has happened everywhere and in every family. And so I question myself, is this the path that I want to walk on? And I say, no, this is something that I don't want to walk on. I want a different path. But by that time, I don't know which path that I want to walk on. So in the hot summer of Texas, I left workplace and I drove to the Hundao Vipassana Bhavana Center. And I saw my teachers walking at 12 noon under the heat, and I walked behind him and he turned around and asked me, how can I help you? I say I want to ordain to become a monk, temporary. And that's it. That's my life. It started just like that. And I became a monk. After that statement that I just answered out from somewhere, maybe I'm afraid of his question and I answered I want to become a monk. But it's all started like that. And then when staying at the temple, I always serve the temple and help my teachers to do everything. I want him to have his own time to practice and to teach. So I do everything. I do everything. Sometimes I question, because seeing many monks from Vietnam, I also have a chance to go to Myanmar, to Sri Lanka, to India and Thailand to study, to practice. But why not me? And sometimes I question myself like that. And I answer it right away. I say, because I'm lack of merit. I don't have that merit yet. So focus here at this temple. Do everything that you can. And I continue that way. Until 2018, my teacher said, okay, now you can go. You can take a break. Because after a long time working and staying at the temple, now you can take a break. You can go to Myanmar based on your vow, your wish to practice for 5 to 7 years. And I was so happy and said, okay, then I will go for 7 years. After 2 years, he called me back. 2 years he called me back because of the land where I built the Dhammacharya projects. That got conflicted with a charter school. And then after a long time working back and forth with them with the CD and could not go anywhere, so he called me back. He said, you come back and handle it. And I came back. I took 1 year to work with that charter school and the government and everyone with the community and interfaith. And finally I got the land back. We purchased that land. And then that is when I expressed my vow to my teacher that I want to build the Dhammacharya. And that 14 acres, the number that I need for this project. And he said, okay, yes. But for me to decide to practice meditation is because after associated with so many people at the temple and doing a lot of work, I want to have a moment for myself, to stay silent, to practice. And that's how and why I went there. And plus, I want to practice different techniques. So at the temple, I practice Seraji Mahasi technique, rising and falling. But when I go to Myanmar, I want to practice the Pa'ao Sayadaw technique. And that's why I stay there to practice. And by that time, I practiced I only eat very little in the morning, and I spend the rest of my time to sit. And that is the time I found myself have a big problem with my back. It hurt very bad because I have a slip disc. Right? So it hurt very bad, but I was able to overcome that. And after that, I continue my practice until my teacher called me back. But meditation is something that we must have as a Buddhist practicing Buddhist followers, and especially the monk. We have to know meditation in order for us to liberate suffering. And I was fortunate enough to learn all those, and that's why I was able to share during the walk. And so all in my head was like, if I cannot teach, if I cannot do anything good, then please don't let me do anything wrong. Don't let me do anything harmful to the Buddha Sasana. That's all in my head. And I hope that within that walk and within my 17 years of ordination I didn't do anything that is harmful to the Buddha Sasana. And I wish from now until I die, continue with that path.
Oh yeah. I truly appreciate your work, your courage, what you have done for this world. I am a mother of 2 kids, and with this world full of materialist disturbance, I'm very concerned for my kids. And I also really want them to learn meditation when they're young. I'm trying my best to teach when I send them to school on the way. But I'm wondering, do you have any program or project for the kids so that they learn very early in their life and they can protect the suffering at the minimum? So I'm wondering, do you have any plan for the future generation that they can learn when they are young? Thank you.
Thank you. That is our future generations, and we must think of all of them, because if they are very easy to train now when they're young, right? Like us, it's very difficult to train now because our bone and everything is just very difficult. But for the children, we must think of the ways to support. And I talk about this. I say the first thing that us as parents, we have to train them is to not to give them the opportunity to use the lovers too much in their daily life. That is the first thing that is needed, your support, which is you as a parent, you have to talk, you have to teach them not to use the phone too much during the day, during the night. And then when they come to the temple, that they cannot stay at the temple, all day, all night, right? You are the main person who can teach them meditation, which is liberated in that form. If you could do that, then when they come to the temple, they practice, it helps them to move forward faster. And I believe that all the temple also have like a Buddhist youth and things like that to support the children to practice and to learn. And myself, I also think a lot about the future. That's why I built this project. And of course, I will put some thoughts in my head to come up with something for the kids to practice. At our temple, we have Buddhist youth, about 70 kids every Sunday. And we continue to spread that, and hopefully that we can bring meditation. That is why I encourage the schools to have a meditation class in their program. And I love to have this in every school. This will help the kids a lot. Imagine if all the school integrated Vipassana practice and mindfulness practicing into their system. This could help tremendously, right? So we'll do something about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's enough for today. And thank you so much, everyone. May you all be well, happy, and be peaceful. Thank you. Thank you, God.
We live in a world that is always going, rushing forward at a breathtaking and often overwhelming pace. From the moment we open our eyes, our minds are flooded with the demands of the day, the anxieties of the future, and the lingering echoes of the past. It is so easy to feel as though we are being swept away in a torrential current, struggling to keep our heads above water in a society that constantly demands more of our time, our energy, and our attention. Many of us walk through our days feeling entirely overwhelmed, carrying minds that race with the frantic energy of an engine that cannot be turned off. We might appear perfectly fine on the outside, walking down the street, sitting in our offices, or running errands, while entirely unseen to the world, we are silently suffering. We ache for a sense of stillness. We beg for a glimmer of hope in a world that can often feel chaotic, demanding, and frightening. Yet, amidst this relentless noise, there exists a profound and quiet invitation to step off the treadmill of constant motion. It begins with a single, courageous intention that we can whisper to ourselves each morning. Today is going to be my peaceful day. This simple declaration is not a magic spell that instantly banishes all hardship, but rather a profound shift in orientation. It is the beginning of a pilgrimage that does not require us to walk across the country, but rather invites us to journey inward, discovering that the sanctuary of peace we so desperately seek is not a destination in the distance, but a quiet place already resting within us, waiting to be rediscovered. At the heart of our modern rushing, however, lies a formidable obstacle that keeps us tethered to the chaos, a secret attachment that quietly drains our peace. It is the modern lover we hold closer than almost anything else, our cellular phones. For so many of us, this glowing screen is the very first thing we reach for in the morning and the last thing we look at before we close our eyes at night. We are profoundly attached to these devices, carrying them in our pockets like heavy stones, constantly checking them for a hit of validation, a distraction from our thoughts, or a way to numb our underlying anxieties. We live in a society that almost demands this constant connection, yet it leaves us feeling increasingly disconnected from our own lives. The quiet victory over this modern affliction begins with the simple, yet tremendously difficult, act of setting the phone down. It requires a gentle, conscious rebellion against the urge to be constantly stimulated. When we sit down to eat our lunch, we can choose to leave the phone in another room. We can set a timer, giving ourselves permission to simply exist for 20 minutes. In that newly created space, something miraculous happens. Without the digital noise filling our heads, we suddenly feel the brush of the wind against our skin. We hear the distinct, joyful song of the birds outside our window. We actually taste the food we are eating. The anxiety of disconnection slowly transforms into the profound joy of true presence. Letting go of this digital lover, even for short periods during the morning or the evening, is a massive victory. It is the first vital step in reclaiming our minds and returning to the beautiful, tangible reality of the present moment. As we begin to detach from our screens and look up at the world around us, we inevitably begin to reevaluate the nature of our connections with others, confronting the uncomfortable illusion of conditioned reality. When we step back from the frantic pace of modern life, we may realize that much of what we previously considered important feels remarkably hollow. We look at the relationships we have built, in our workplaces, in our social circles, sometimes even within our own families, and we might notice a heartbreaking transactional quality to them. So often, people are all in for us when conditions are favorable, but the moment personal benefits are on the line, that loyalty evaporates. We witness a world where people are willing to step on one another to climb higher on the ladder of success, where love and friendship are frequently offered with hidden strings attached. Awakening to this reality can be deeply painful. It forces us to ask ourselves if this is truly the path we want to walk on, if this is the kind of life we want to build. Recognizing the illusion of conditional relationships is a necessary heartbreak on the path to mindfulness. It strips away the superficial layers of our social conditioning and compels us to seek something more authentic. We realize that we do not want to participate in a cycle of mutual exploitation. Instead, we begin to long for connections rooted in genuine compassion, relationships where we can offer ourselves purely, without the constant calculation of what we might receive in return. We start to walk a different path, one that prioritizes unconditional kindness over conditional success. Yet, turning inward and facing our reality is not always a peaceful experience. Often, when we strip away our distractions, we run headfirst into the profound grief and suffering we have been trying to avoid. Life can be unimaginably hard, and many of us carry the heavy, invisible scars of deep personal tragedies. We may have spent years, sometimes decades, suffering from the loss of loved ones, navigating the agonizing terrain of grief that can make just breathing feel like an impossible chore. When we stop running and start meditating, these painful memories rush to the surface. Our minds desperately want to pull us backward into the decades of pain, or propel us forward into anxious scenarios about the future, worrying about money, about survival, about what is fair and what is not. In these moments of intense vulnerability, mindfulness is not about erasing the pain. It is about finding the breathtaking courage to keep our minds anchored right here, in the present moment. We will fail. We will spend hours lost in sorrowful memories or future anxieties. But the beauty of this practice is the boundless grace of beginning again. When we realize our minds have wandered into the dark alleys of the past, we do not have to punish ourselves. We simply whisper, "Start over." Every single day, every single breath, is an opportunity to softly say, "Today is going to be my peaceful day." We realize that while we cannot control the tragedies that have befallen us, we always have a choice in how we react in this exact second. Through this gentle, persistent returning to the present, we slowly transform. We find a strength inside ourselves we never knew we had, realizing that we are no longer the same people we were before we began this brave journey of healing. The question then becomes how we actually go about doing this profound work of staying in the present moment, especially when our minds feel like wild animals desperately trying to escape from a cage. The answer lies in the simple, yet profound, practice of meditation. It is sometimes described as a trick, but it is the most honest trick in the world, simply paying attention to our breathing. When we sit down to practice, we are not trying to achieve a state of blank emptiness. We are entering into a compassionate struggle with the restless, untamed energy within us. It requires immense strength and determination to sit still. Our bodies will protest. Our backs might ache, our knees might throb, and our minds will undoubtedly throw tantrums, demanding that we get up and do something productive. But if we believe in ourselves, if we bring a strong, patient determination to the cushion, we can overcome this resistance. We learn to observe the rising and falling of our breath, the physical sensations of discomfort, and the chaotic swirling of our thoughts without immediately reacting to them. We become the silent, loving witness to our own internal storms. Through this consistent, gentle discipline, the wild animal of the mind begins to settle. We learn that we do not have to be dragged around by every thought or emotion that arises. We discover that true liberation from suffering is not found by escaping the world, but by turning directly toward our own internal experience with deep, unwavering attention. It is a daily practice, a moment-by-moment commitment to fighting for our own peace, knowing that with patience, we will inevitably reach the destination of a quiet mind. It is crucial to remember, however, that this process of cultivating a quiet mind and a peaceful heart requires an ocean of patience and a willingness to embrace humble service. In our fast-paced culture, we expect immediate results. We want a weekend retreat to cure a lifetime of anxiety. But true spiritual practice does not happen in a month. It is a slow, gradual untangling of deeply rooted habits. Along the way, we must cultivate the humility to do the quiet, unglamorous work. We can draw immense inspiration from those who dedicate their lives to serving others, those who work behind the scenes, sweeping the floors, helping their teachers, and building communities without demanding immediate recognition. Sometimes we may look at others who seem to be progressing faster, or who are granted grand opportunities to study and travel, and we might feel a pang of inadequacy, wondering, why not me? In those moments, mindfulness teaches us to accept our current circumstances with grace. We recognize that our sole task is to bloom exactly where we are planted, doing everything we can with a pure heart in our present situation. If we feel we lack the merit or the readiness for grand spiritual achievements, we simply continue to serve and practice where we are. The highest aspiration becomes not one of personal glory, but a quiet vow of harmlessness. If I cannot do anything good, please don't let me do anything wrong. By focusing on causing no harm and selflessly supporting the well-being of others, we naturally cultivate the deep inner stillness required for profound meditation. We learn to trust the timing of our own lives, knowing that when the moment is right, the path forward will open naturally. Ultimately, this journey of inner peace is not a solitary endeavor meant only for our own personal liberation. It is a sacred responsibility we hold for the future of our world, particularly for our children. As we look at the materialistic, distraction-filled society we live in, it is entirely natural to feel deeply concerned for the younger generations. We wonder how they will navigate the overwhelming noise, the constant comparisons of social media, and the heavy pressures of modern life without losing their joyful spirits. The most powerful way we can protect them from unnecessary suffering is to give them the tools of mindfulness early in life. But this teaching cannot be merely theoretical. It must be embodied. As adults, we must first do the hard work of liberating ourselves from our own digital lovers and our own frantic rushing. When we model presence, when we show our children how to put the phone down, look them in the eyes, and breathe, we are offering them a masterclass in peace. We can advocate for meditation to be integrated into our schools, imagining a world where children learn to navigate their internal emotional landscapes with the same rigor they learn mathematics. We can create quiet spaces in our homes and communities where the youth can learn to sit in stillness. But even if we have no access to grand spiritual centers or formal programs, the core truth remains beautifully accessible to us all. We do not need to go anywhere special to find peace. Our home, our living room, a quiet corner of our bedroom. These can be our sacred spaces. All we truly need is to find a quiet area, sit down, breathe in, and breathe out. That breath is our home. That breath is our peace. By committing to this simple, daily act of profound presence, we heal ourselves, we uplift those around us, and we quietly, beautifully, change the world.